Hello everyone. Welcome back to the lecture series on British history or the history of England. In the previous class we discussed the geographical features of Britain or the geographic features of England. With today's lecture, we will cover the salient points under the topic the early settlers of England. The early settlers of England and the early invasions. First of all, let's go through the early settlers of England based on the different time periods, starting from the Stone Age period. So the Stone Age period, that was around 6000 BC. Remember, the Stone Age period was around 6000 BC. After this came the next period, that was the Bronze Age, from 2200 BC to 750 BC. The Bronze Age, 2200 to 750 BC. After this came the Iron Age period, from 750 to 43 BC. So the Iron Age period lasted from 750 BC to 43 BC. After this, it was the late pre-Roman Iron Age, from 43 BC to 43 AD. Late pre-Roman Iron Age from 43 BC to 43 AD. After this period, it was the Roman Britain time. Roman Britain, from 43 AD to 410 AD. Roman period in Britain, from 43 AD to 410 AD. After this, it was the Anglo-Saxon or the Old English period, lasting from 450 AD to 1066 AD till the coming of the Norman people. So Anglo-Saxon or Old English period from 450 AD to 1066 AD. Now let's come to the topic in detail. The early settlers of England in detail, the early settlements and invasions. The Celts, Romans, Anglo-Saxons and the Normans were a few of the more important conquerors of England. The Celts, the Romans, the Anglo-Saxons and the Normans were a few of the more important conquerors of England. The Stone Age in England was around 6000 BC. So around 6000 BC, it was the Stone Age period in England or in Britain. During this period, the people living in England were hunters from Northern Europe. So during the Stone Age period, the people living in England were hunters from Northern Europe. They used stone articles and weapons. In order to hunt animals and to find the food, they had to use stone articles and weapons. That's why the period is called the Stone Age. After the Stone Age came the Bronze Age, starting from 2200 BC till 750 BC. So after the Stone Age, it was the Bronze Age, from 2200 BC till 750 BC. During this period, they first used the copper weapons. So during the Bronze Age period, before using bronze, they used copper weapons. But copper was not a strong metal, so they used bronze weapons. Copper was not a strong metal, so this made them go to the next metal, that was bronze, with which they made their weapons and hunted down animals and found the food. Now let's go to the Celtic or the Celtic period. The Celts or the Celtic England or the Celtic England. So we know that Celtic people came to England during the Iron Age period. Remember, it was during the Iron Age in England that the Celtic people came. So the Iron Age in England is around 750 BC to 43 BC. Around 500 BC, the invaders known as Celts arrived on the shores of England. So it was around 500 BC that the invaders known as Celts or Celts who arrived on the shores of England. The earliest Celts arrived were the Gaels. So the Gaels were the earliest Celtic people who reached England. The Britons, who were the next Celtic group, came next. So the Britons were the second group of Celtic people who came next to England. The name Britain is taken from this branch of the Celts. So the name Britain is taken from this branch of the Celts. The Iron Age began after Celts settled down in Britain. So after the settlement of Celts in Britain, the Iron Age period began in Britain. And the priests of the Celts were called Druids. Their priests were called Druids. Then in 55 BC, Julius Caesar made his first visit to Britain. In 55 BC, Julius Caesar made his first visit to Britain. He learned that the land was fertile and the people weak. So after coming to Britain, Julius Caesar learned that the land was fertile and the people of Britain weak. He was, however, more interested in the conquest of other lands. So he took Britain only as a trading partner. Caesar was interested in conquering other countries. So he took Britain only as a trading partner. But in 43 AD, Emperor Claudius invaded Britain. So it was Emperor Claudius who invaded Britain in 43 AD. So after Emperor Claudius conquered Britain, it was the Roman period in Britain. So that's what coming under the Roman conquest. And after the Romans, it was the time for the Anglo-Saxons. These topics we will discuss in separate lectures. So remember once more, the early settlers of Britain. When we take period-wise, we can start from the Stone Age. Stone Age period around 6000 BC. Then Bronze Age 2200 BC to 750 BC. Then the Iron Age 750 BC to 43 BC. Then late pre-Roman Iron Age from 43 BC to 43 AD. Then the Roman Britain, that was from 43 AD to 410 AD. And after that, the Anglo-Saxons or the Old English period, 450 AD to 1066 AD. And after 1066, it was the time of the Normans, the Norman people or the people from France. So that's all for today. We will meet again in the next class with the next topic.